The most damage done to Black Americans is inflicted by those politicians, civil rights leaders, and academics who assert that every problem confronting Blacks is a result of a legacy of slavery and discrimination. Victoria was a white 3-year-old girl who was beaten to death by her Black adopted parents. Victoria's death came only a few weeks after her adopted mother said this on Twitter. "In my house, my Black children get treated the same way as my white children, and my white children get treated the same way as my Black children. It's a shame that when they go out into the real world, that won't be the case."
Those words of wisdom that you just heard are from the channel called Gothics. I encourage you to check her out because she's got a lot of good stuff on her channel. But going off what she said that Victoria Rose Smith did not get as much coverage as some of the well-known Black Lives Matter victims. She also mentioned the very similar stories of George Floyd and Tony Timpa and how different the media treated them. But that's not all she mentioned. She also mentioned that the media treats these stories differently to try to profit off of the victimization of minorities, specifically Black people. So that just brings up a question. Why do liberals get so mad when you say, all lives matter? Why would that piss them off so much? Because that distracts from the main narrative. It's always just Black Lives Matter. It's always just that. You can't say anything else because you're distracting from the real issues of racism that are in our country. See, to a normal, logical person, the words all lives matter just mean that everybody's equal and that they should be treated equally. But when a liberal hears those words, it really bothers them. And that's because when you listen to everything the mainstream media says and what social media says, you lose sight of reality and logic, and that's exactly what's happening here. Corrupt politicians and greedy members of the media don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear all lives matter. They have to perpetuate their narrative. They need to get more stories out there to make more money off the struggles of minorities.
I think the looting is completely justified.
Who cares if they ignore other tragic stories and don't report on them the same? Who cares if they lie, manipulate, and use their audience for views? Who cares if the actions of the media actually start real violence and real racism? None of that matters to corrupt politicians and members of the media. They don't care if a business gets burned down because of something they reported that was disingenuous or a narrative that they twisted. All of the media stories trigger emotional responses. They don't use facts, they don't use data, they don't use statistics. They just try to get in your feelings and keep you coming back for more. And anybody that disagrees with them or anybody that stands in their way, they're racist, they're a bigot, they're homophobic, they're transphobic, you name it. They're just awful people. And that leads to my next question. How much longer are we as people going to put up with this? How many more people are going to lose their jobs in Hollywood for disagreeing with the mainstream narrative? How many times are we going to let LeBron James say we're being hunted in the streets when he's in his mansion and making more money than anybody? The only people hunting LeBron in the streets are people that want to get his autograph. And I shouldn't have to clarify this, but I guess I do. When I say don't stand for it and don't put up with it anymore, I do not mean violently. I do not mean capital raids. I just mean calling it out when you see it. Never let the mainstream media off the hook. Because I'm sick and tired of the mainstream media controlling the way everybody thinks and manipulating people, causing violence, even people dying, people losing their businesses and livelihood. I'm done with it. I'm fed up. I'm tired of one side of the aisle calling everybody racist, transphobic, and homophobic when they disagree. I'm done with it, and you should be too. But thank you guys for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe for more content like this, and I will see you in the next upload.